Iruma Suzuki is an ugly and poor 14-year-old boy who lives on Earth with the most useless parents in the world, who force him to do everything for them since he was little. He can never go to school, have his own room, play with other children, or have a childhood. Instead, he cleaned the house, scrubbed bathrooms, and ran errands. Since his NPC parents refused to work, he had to earn money in dangerous and difficult conditions as a fisherman on the ship. He had a cruel manager who treated him badly. He was given the thankless task of putting fish in cages, but because he was short and had thin hands, the task was almost impossible. With the rough seas, the cages opened and the tuna fell out. He was almost crushed when suddenly he saw the fish frozen in the air. He blinks and finds himself tied up and floating in front of a demon. His greedy parents sold his soul to Sullivan, an old demon who always wanted a grandson. He takes him to the underworld, a dark place inhabited by demons. For years there was no demon king to rule, and many have tried to guess who. He would be next on the throne. Iruma is terrified, thinking she will be tortured. But in the mansion, she sees him on his knees, asking to be her grandfather. Iruma was a docile man, incapable of denying requests. The old demon promised to fulfill his wishes and treat him like a prince. After convincing him, he accepted. As his first gift, he announced that he would go to school with the other demon children. He gets his own room and a new school uniform. Sullivan, excited, jumps around everywhere before leaving. Before leaving, he puts on a special perfume so that the demons do not recognize his human scent and eat him at school. He follows the crowd of students to the auditorium. The enrollment ceremony will take place. The students stand up and sing the school's Ino together. Then the principal goes on stage. To Iruma's horror, her new grandfather announces to the entire school that he is her grandson. He is called to the stage to give the speech in place of Asmodeus, the freshman genius. His grandfather gives him a note that he begins to read, not knowing that it is a forbidden and very dangerous spell. He successfully completes the spell and gains protection from he stumbles and falls all day long. All the students and teachers cheer for him, impressed by his talent. But Asmodeus, an expert in fire magic, becomes enraged and challenges him to a fight before refusing. He is taken to the school grounds to face him. His hard life has made him reactive, and he dodges all the attacks. When Asmodeus draws his flaming sword, he dodges it, sending him into a group of girls. He almost falls, but his spell stops him, and he holds on, saving the girls and winning the duel. After losing, Asmodeus promises lifelong loyalty to Iruma. After a breakfast feast, he goes to school where the freshman representative awaits him. At 6 o'clock, they are placed in the same training group and go to their first class, where they will learn to summon special beasts as subordinates. When the teachers discuss the strength of their beasts, they are given a ranking. As they talk, a scary teacher enters and warns them not to fail, or he will eliminate them. Iruma trembles in fear as they watch a video about the spell. He hands them the papers, and they begin to summon the beasts one by one. Asmodeus summons a giant serpent, the most powerful beast yet. Iruma comes next, and because he is human, summons a demon instead of a beast, which is his teacher. The teacher realizes that Iruma is not a demon, but is trapped as a summoned beast and cannot rebel or reveal the truth. You are lucky, and your classmates applaud you for summoning another demon as a pet. They seek out the principal to reverse the spell, but the contract lasts for a year, so the teacher becomes his subordinate. Trying to undo the spell by force can kill them both. Your reputation grows at school when a group of children block the way. Asmodeus uses his beast to push them away and make way for Iruma. They enter a room and hear a loud sound from inside. A green ball flies past them and hits stacked boxes. Clara, a green-haired demon, emerges from the ball and begins to clean up the mess. She was exiled for being immature, and everyone thinks she is strange. She is known for causing trouble and acting like a maniac. Asmodeus warns not to approach her because it would be difficult to get rid of her. He asks to play and be friends with her. She does not refuse. She is easy to be with. Convince. So the three of them spend the afternoon playing games. She shows them her magic pockets that bring any item ever seen. She is a special woman who makes more than just sandwiches. She brings them games and snacks. She discovers that many students pretend to be friends because of the free snacks and drinks. She knows about their malice but continues to bribe them because she has no other way to make friends. She thinks that Iruma is also her friend just for the gifts. When she offers more games and food, he refuses, and like a crying baby, she throws a tantrum. He calms her down by saying that they can be friends without gifts. Her eyes light up. She jumps for joy. A group of boys call out to her asking for drinks, but she throws a vending machine at them and tells them to leave. Iruma begins to like school and spends time with her new friends. They have lunch in the cafeteria, where the students order lunch according to their rank. Since the three of them are newbies, they have a very small list of options to choose from. However, a group of seniors sends large portions of food to their table as a joke. Asmodeus is about to fight with them, but realizes that he has already eaten all the food. He continues eating. A supersonic speed which causes the boss to faint. From exhaustion, they hear a scream, and Clara is caught by the storekeeper who accuses her of theft for replicating the items in his store. She was banned from the school stores, but still returns to the chaos. Nab invades the cafeteria. It is the same teacher that Iruma summoned as pet. Clara begins to irritate him, and to stop her, and save the teacher. He transforms him into an owl. The storekeeper unknowingly imprisons K-Ship and keeps him in the store as punishment for stealing the three amigos who quickly leave. Meanwhile, Principal Sullivan and the other teachers get together and decide to put Iruma, Asmodeus, and Clara in a separate class for misfit students. The next day, they are excited to discover that they are in the same class and follow a magic arrow. It guides them out of the school building to a dark cave smelling of rotting garbage. They go down the stairs and find a decaying door with the danger sign in front. Iruma opens the door and is pushed when taking a step. Dangerous weapons come out of the walls, but he dodges and saves himself the others. The students who set the traps as a joke applaud, impressed by his skill. The big muscle man goes to the front of the class to show his dominance. Unlike Iruma, he took all the weapons without getting hurt. He plans to train to become the next demon king of the underworld, the most powerful of all. He argued with many teachers to climb the hierarchy. The boys show off their egos and cause a commotion in the classroom. The ship enters and is placed in the Misfits class for being absent after being caught by the shopkeeper. He breaks up the fights and begins the roll call. The first class is in a dangerous valley of floating rocks. The students must run and face challenges in this cruel environment. They spread their wings and take off. But Iruma is pushed without safety. Most of the idiot students ruin the race by touching poisonous flowers and stealing eggs. Asmodeus uses his pet snake to burn poisonous plants, but Clara runs into him and they end up in trouble. After that, he tries hard and saves her from the plant with fire magic. Iruma was saved by curious demon birds who carried him off the rocks. A loud sound scares the bird, and he falls, stopping in front of a giant wounded bird. He offers help by tying a cloth to the wound, but when a few drops of his blood fall, the wound miraculously heals, and he realizes the value of his humanity to repay the bird. The bird carries him on its back. Cave just watches as the students struggle to survive. The strong man, without using his brain, crosses the most difficult and dangerous part of the valley. He faces complicated terrain and demonic monsters that attack him. He remembers his goal of being the next demon king and summons a mega weapon from his magic necklace. The monster in front of him is 10 times bigger and his weapon is thrown like paper in the wind. Muscle Man is almost swept off the planet when Iruma falls from the sky like an action hero, standing in front of him even though he could easily be crushed by the monster. His new friend, the bird, stops the monster from attacking him. He still tries to attack, but Iruma encourages him to drop his weapon so that the monster doesn't feel threatened. The plan works, and he moves away, allowing the race to resume. Asmodeus and Clara are the first two to finish. Little by little, the other students reach the finish line. No one has seen Iruma and Muscle Man. Everyone is waiting for them. Questioning how the two best students had not shown up yet, the teacher decided to end the class after a long time as it was unlikely that anyone else would survive. They hear a high-pitched sound in the sky, and the giant black bird comes flying towards them. Nab, he quickly begins a spell to attack the demon bird, but is interrupted by Iruma, who calls them. The bird allows the two to ride on its back to the finish line. His face turns pale with disbelief when he sees two students tame a dangerous monster. They are applauded and hugged by their classmates, as they did not complete the race alone. They are punished and wear plaques of shame. Kneeling, the others laugh and throw stones before lining up for classification. Asmodeus and Clara receive a 3, while Muscle Man receives a 2 for almost dying. When Iruma goes to take her patent, the owl flies away but leaves a golden ring on her finger. The class is shocked because it is a prediction of the prophecy of the next demon king. They are afraid and move away when they see a black spirit come out of the ring. The spirit screams deadly, making all the demons fall and cry in pain. Iruma calms it down, but Muscle Man activates it again and is beaten for getting too close. It drains powers and creates illusions, making it difficult even for Professor Sullivan. He intervenes and prevents NAD from acting drastically with his experience. Sends the spirit back to the ring. The special ring absorbs the magic of others and stores it. After use, it cannot be removed. So even without your own magic, you can use the stored one. Since the owl did not grade him, he got the lowest grade but is satisfied. Rumors about his strangeness spread through the school, and he just wants to be discreet. Agruma's desire not to stand out is ignored by his grandfather and friends who always put him in the spotlight. He enters the school and attends the botany class taught by Sa the elf. His first task is to use magic to imagine and grow a flower from the cutting given. The students take turns creating plants and flowers with their imaginations. Some make strange plants and get low grades, while others like Asmodeus grow elegant plants. Iruma has no magic, but tries to cast the spell. As a joke, his grandfather filled the ring with magic. It activated when casting the spell, but with no limit to output. The cherry blossom plant turned into a huge tree, breaking through the school's ceiling. The tree beautifies the school and gives the students a new meeting point. I praise him for his work, as he helps clean. The Mess Student Council President Amelia is one of the few demon students who has researched Earth and humans. Upon seeing the tree created by Iruma, she realizes that it only exists in the human world and could not have been made by someone who has never seen Earth. She suspects that he is a human disguised as a demon. She adopts his theory and opens a secret portal in her office with evidence of human existence. Books, especially comics and mangas, have been passed down through generations in the family. They contain forbidden texts that describe human activities. She sees him in the hallway and remembers a scene that confirms her suspicions about him. However, she decides to report him instead of confronting him. Upon seeing the book, he picks it up and leafs through it, remembering his time on Earth. Upon realizing that he understands the language, she takes him to her office to read the story. When they finish, the sun has already set, and her phone is full of missed calls from her grandfather. She asks him to keep in touch, but not to tell anyone about them. Before she goes to school, she asks him if he wants to return to the human realm. The principal says that if he tries hard and gets a good grade in graduation, he can visit Earth anytime. However, he feels temptation at first, remembers the terrible and poor life he had before, and how he now lives better, which makes him hesitate. To leave, he hears his grandfather pulling the carriage to take him to school and runs out to avoid him. Asmodeus and Clara are already waiting for him outside and ask if he is running to stay active. He spends the whole day replaying the conversation. In his head, trying to decide something, his friends notice the change in his behavior and confront him. But he gets up and goes out to walk alone after a while. His insistent friends follow him to see what he does. They look everywhere but can't find him, so they ask the principal for special glasses to disappear and make the search easier. They find him in another part of the school, waiting at the door. They are perplexed by his behavior and wonder why he is hiding there. Iruma received a message from Amelia to meet her secretly. She was always thinking about comics and wanted him to continue the story. They discuss dreams and ambitions, and she talks about creating a better world for the demons in the window. Clara tries to enter the room, but he stops her and chases her when she runs away. He thinks that Iruma is doing something beyond their understanding and should be left alone. They continue talking about dreams, and he struggles to think about what she says. Even without a dream, he needs to think of something and work on it. He still can't think of anything. So she suggests that he aim to move up in academic rankings. The conversation is interrupted when Clara comes through the wall. She grabs him and drags him. The three have trouble sleeping that night, thinking about everything at school. Clara becomes jealous of another girl dating him. She wants him all to herself without sharing her time. The muscular man suggests using demonic powers to do so. In the next class, the students choose elective subjects. Clara decides to learn manipulation to make Iruma fall in love with her. Waiting. He wants to spend less time with the student president, Amelia. His attempts fail, and the teacher suggests that he give up the class because it is not for her. In her last attempt, she uses a special perfume like a love spell. But when they talk in the park, she regains her confidence and decides not to use tricks to win him over. This makes her more attractive, and he starts to think more about her. However, his priority was to climb the hierarchy and reach his goal. He approaches Asmodeus with an objective that promises to help him reach the top of the school, but Zaruma only wants to move up one position. Respecting this, he agrees to help with the training. There is a special event called Cannonball Execution. It gives students the chance to level up, but it is dangerous and requires strong magic. The game is like dodgeball, and the objective is to catch the ball and eliminate the others. Opera and the other players are hit by a deadly ball. They decide to practice fundamentals on a court with fake players that Clara takes out of her pocket. The other students see them and join in. They all cast spells to deflect the ball and protect themselves, but Iruma realizes that the game can be difficult for her. She is weak and human. He asks his grandfather for help training for the event. Sullivan transfers magic to his ring, breaking rocks and summoning ice dragons. But Iruma wants to play without magic. He casts a spell to strengthen his arms and leaves the physical training for the opera. He brings balls to train with and starts throwing them at him. He dodges all the attacks easily. But that's not enough to win. He must learn to catch the ball and throw it at others. For a nerd like him, this physical activity was difficult, and weeks went by without catching a ball. Clara and Asmodeus also watched to cheer. Finally, after training and a nutritious diet, he strengthens his body and dodges the ball. A few days before the event, Iruma's training intensifies, and he catches his first ball. Opera and Sullivan think he's ready to compete and watch as their friends rest under a tree on the morning of the event. Opera gives them important advice, telling them not to fear the enemy, because that would be a sign of defeat. They go to school and gather in the cave to listen to instructions before the match. The ship distributes armbands to divide the students into two teams. Iruma and Asmodeus end up on opposite sides, shocking everyone. Because they are always together, he protests in frustration for not helping his friend, but the teacher says that the teams balance the power, and there will be no changes. The game begins and the students take their places. Iruma dodges the attacks and catches the ball, but cannot throw it. The muscular man notices Asmodeus, distracted. He throws the ball, which Asmodeus catches with one hand, surprising everyone. He quickly throws it back, eliminating him one by one. The students are eliminated, leaving only the two friends. This will be the confrontation of the week. Asmodeus thinks about letting his friend finish him off, but remembers his morals and decides not to. He channels his strength and explodes into a giant flame. Seeing his strong and frightening opponent, he wants to run away, but remembers the words of and stands firm. He aims and throws the fireball. He advances quickly. He tries to catch the bowl, but the force is great and he is pulled. Kung Fu Panda frees himself and spins with the ball, kicking it back and defeating him. The students applaud, throw him to the ground and lift him up, celebrating the victory. Amelia and other teachers who have just arrived watch in amazement. He promotes the second place for the victory and sends everyone home. The student president congratulates him on moving up a level, and he blushes with praise after celebrating at home and falls asleep with a big smile. Classes continue and a new teacher, a green goblin, appears to teach. He is an expert in training magical animals and familiars. The class is outside the forest and everyone calls their animals. Asmodeus summons his giant snake and Muscle Man shows off his horse. Dragon Beast. Both are among the strongest. He summons his gremlin, a rare find. Unfortunately, he controls her and makes her obey him. She runs to get food when he asks. After that, everyone presents their pets. The teacher asks Iruma to call her familiar. He hesitates because he doesn't want to call Nab, his teacher, and cause problems. However, the Green Goblin insists and forces him to have no other options. He summons his pet and the ship is teleported from the chair to the classroom like an owl. He screams to be sent back, but disobeying the teacher results in a shock. According to the rules, the Green Goblin decides to continue like this because classes shouldn't stop. Cave sits with him and lets him use it in class as long as he gets the highest grades. He swallows his pride and participates in everything to get good grades. In the end, Cave intervenes and reprimands everyone for underestimating their pets and not giving them to him. He warns them that even without disobeying the masters, they can become violent and harm others. To avoid this, students must fear them and treat them with dignity, not just as subordinates. In the cafeteria after class, a group of girls approach and drool over Asmodeus. When they see that Iruma has also moved up in rank, they try to take him, but his friends push them away and save him after they leave. He asks why the cafeteria is empty. Modeus talks about the school clubs where many spend their extra time. These clubs help to raise the level and learn skills. Today, the leaders of these clubs recruit freshmen. Iruma thinks about her goal and decides to join a club to speed up her progress. The ground shakes when the upperclassmen enter, trying to get to the newbies first. Everyone wants the best students in their clubs. They do this with violence. Asmodeus throws a ring of fire to protect them from being chosen randomly. The crowd goes silent when Amelia enters with the student council. She breaks up a fight and hands Iruma a pamphlet asking her to join the council, since they almost never accept applications. This was rare. He takes the pamphlet and sees them leaving. The students return to the classroom instructed to visit the club exhibition in the next 3 days to decide where to sign up. The club leaders target Iruma and Asmodeus for being outstanding students, but they ignore the pamphlets. Suddenly Iruma feels a tug on his hand and is carried by his ring through the crowd for a long distance. He hits another student with a huge bag and thinks he hurt him, but apologizes for the mess. Hundreds of things fall to the floor as he explains that the ring was attracted by the necklace made of the same material. The nerdy boy uses the necklace to store magic as his powers are weak. He leaves without further explanation. The three friends continue exploring clubs through the laboratory, library, and other rooms until at the end of the day, the grandfather modifies the ring to adjust the magic. The next day he is invited by the sports club. Amelia also encourages him to join the student council. Suddenly the wall explodes, and he finds himself again with the nerdy boy. He faints, and when he wakes up, he explains that he messed up a magic potion that caused the explosion. He has his own club where he is the only member like Iruma. He has no magic and uses sources external to survive. But whenever he uses them, his body weakens and takes a long time to recover. He works on a special machine that extracts and expands magic on command. One part was broken, so he used his experience in fixing appliances to put it back together. They put it in the machine and saw it work. He invites them to his club. He meets with friends and tells them what happened. They decide to follow him and join the club, which makes Amelia upset because she spent a lot of time preparing his reception. He explains the situation to her, and after a lot of talking, she calms down. The school organizes a parent meeting and a party at the club for the freshmen. He waits for his grandfather to come back to plan together. But without knowing Sullivan was in a meeting with high-ranking demons, they suggest that he take the place of the Demon King, but he refuses because he doesn't want to waste time with his grandson. The position of Demon King is still vacant, and the prophecy has not been fulfilled. They end the meeting when the police enter and arrest him for illegally traveling to the human realm. He is held until trial. He calls home asking the opera to take care of Iruma, and saying that he will be back soon in his absence. Navi is appointed principal in charge of preparations for the next family day at school. The students argue excitedly about who they will bring and prepare to impress their families. Each club sets up a tent with exclusive items for the party. They help Nerdboy carry the equipment to the club tent, which is small compared to the other spaces. The Magnificents decide to create an invention that uses fire and explosions, showing the beauty of magic and their abilities. Iruma remembers the fireworks of Earth and suggests that they put on a show that will not only be fun, but will also attract everyone's attention and utilize all of their abilities. They agree with the idea and begin to make all the necessary preparations for the show. Nerdboy is in charge of obtaining the gunpowder but is confused about what to do from there since they have never seen fireworks before. Iruma then remembers the comics and decides to go to Amelia to borrow one of the books in order to show the image. She gets furious when she hears his requests because books are forbidden and cannot be delivered, so he promises to be discreet, saying that they only want to recreate the fireworks from the book. She pays attention because she would love to see them for real, so she leaves the comic on the table for him to take. He thanks her and goes back to his friends who see the photos and spend the day building parts for the fireworks. Finally, he confirms, and it lights up the sky, hypnotizing them. They sleep at school because it is late and they have a pillow fight. Exhausted, they go to bed, but Nerdboy leaves to answer a suspicious call. The weak little demon was not so innocent and was destroying the school with his evil brother. The club festival begins, and the prizes for the best are announced. The winning team wins a luxurious room for the whole year and a promotion for everyone in the club. They finish assembling the fireworks so they are ready by nightfall. Nerd Boy sneaks into a secret room in the school where he finalizes the plans with his brother. He prepares the giant machine that will be used as a bomb at the festival to blow up the school and the students. He is surprised to see Iruma in the room dragged by the ring. He remembers that they are similar and thinks about telling his real plan, but for now he lies, saying that he was there to calm his mind and prepare for the festival. He shows the view from the one-way window and says that his dream is to eradicate the power gaps between demons based on rank and magical strength. He dreams of a world of equality and without contempt. An ambitious plan, and perhaps a fool, if I may say so. Iruma suggests starting by launching fireworks and winning the award for Best Club, showing the value of machine work instead of magic. This would prove that low-ranking demons are just as capable as higher-ranking clubs. They return to the tent after he promises to keep the secret. Clara decorated the fireworks with flowers and toys. Now they wait for the families to arrive to show the club's work. The nerdy boy disappears again and watches the party at your hiding place. The three amigos decide to watch the competition and see what their classmates do. Their main competitor is the Muscle Man's Club, which plans to show magic to extract water from a rock. Other fierce clubs have prepared incredible presentations. But for now, everyone enjoys the festivities, sharing food and drink. Asmodeus takes them back to the tent to review the final plan. When the sun sets, Clara takes a flame of fire and gives it to Iruma, who lights her largest firework and puts it into action. Their presentation, then they will continue to set off smaller fireworks to keep everyone's attention on their tent, and who knows, win the grand prize at the end. During the discussion, she accidentally sets the string on fire and they fear that the firework will explode, but when it doesn't light, they realize that the main explosive is missing. Nerd Boy had stolen it and taken it with him. They anxiously search for it all over the school but can't find it anywhere. As the sun begins to set, he is instructed to put the plan into action. He breaks his necklace, releasing a magical shockwave that creates invisible walls throughout the campus. The students are trapped, unable to move freely. One of them gets separated from her two friends. The teachers quickly spread out to deal with the situation and prevent the students from panicking or causing a commotion. They discover that not all the walls are connected and can be traversed like a maze. They guide the students to find their way to a meeting point with a surprise as they search for a safe place. Nabi tries to knock down the wall, but it repairs itself. Only someone like Sullivan could destroy it. Now he realizes that the principal was wrongly accused and arrested, so that the plan could be carried out. He goes to the document room to seek more information about who is behind this. The three amigos try to find a way out when Iruma remembers that Nerd Boy showed her the invisible barrier trick and realizes that it was him. He knows where the secret room is where Nerd Boy might be, but getting there will take a long time. He goes through walls. Clara takes a piece of paper from her magical pockets and draws a map of the school. She pulls out paper soldiers. He casts a spell on her, and they go ahead to find a way. Iruma connects via Bluetooth and follows the instructions to reach the secret room. He has prepared the destruction machine with explosive fireworks and awaits instructions to blow it up. Iruma enters the room and is greeted by him. He admits his plan and shows her the huge machine with the explosive. The nerdy boy reveals that he was born into a well-known family specializing in invisible magic. It was discovered that he did not have as many magical powers as the others, and was therefore sent to a special boarding school. He suffered a lot of torture from the teachers and bullies, but he managed to make a very close friend. She showed him the valuable earrings she had had for years. The bullies stole them and threw the earring off the cliff. He tried to cast a spell to hold it, but it was not strong enough. The glass broke and fell into the river, lost forever. He looked at her with tears on his face, and instead of feeling guilty, he realized that he liked seeing someone unhappy. This took a dark turn. Since then, he was recruited by extremist demons to bring destruction and suffering. He is eager to see Iruma's despair when her friends die. The explosion occurs, but to his surprise, Iruma gets up from the ground with a blank expression. After suffering his entire life, he no longer feels despair or sadness, focusing only on fixing the situation without dealing with emotions. Nerd Boy watches in shock as he climbs into the machine and loads the explosive fireworks using his grandfather's powers through the ring. He jumps out the window before launching it into the Sky, but the power is not enough because of the barriers. So he breaks his promise and releases maximum power to break the barrier. The fireworks explode and leave a beautiful trail in the sky while the students watch in awe. He faints on the roof from the drained magic, even with his plans ruined. Nerd Boy recognizes that Iruma is a demon, better than Salt, and takes him to his grandfather. Sullivan is released after Nab sends a magic arrow to clarify everything. He used his powers to save the school from the fire. Nerd Boy is arrested and sent to demon control for his crimes. The families arrive and the students continue their celebrations. And the club party, after a long day full of events, teachers and guests vote on the presentations. The award for best club goes to another team, and Iruma and his friends are disappointed. Maeve announces on stage a special award for saving the school. Iruma receives an honorary award. They decide to promote him to a higher level. Everyone applauds when he receives it. In a few months, he went from being an unlucky boy to a beloved grandson and friend to many. He values how his life has improved. Before leaving, take a picture with your grandfather at the opera to always remember him well. Guys, this is the end of the video. If you got this far, comment "I want a cookie," subscribe, and hit like. Until next time.